Hello, I'm Chloe Tilley. Welcome to World Have Your Say. 3 women have been named as the winners of the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's bounced straight into the top trending topics worldwide on Twitter. They are President of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Lamin Gaboe, a Liberian peace activist, and Tawakkol Karman, who's known as Yemen's mother of the revolution. All 3 have been recognised for their work to promote women's rights and peace. But is there something that women can bring to campaigning and peacemaking that men simply can't? And in a year when dictatorships have fallen in Egypt, Tunisia and Libya, and uprisings continuing elsewhere, is this enough of a nod to the Arab Spring? Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Global Conversation. Well, thank you for joining us here on World Have Your Say. I'll introduce you to a couple of guests who are with us for the next hour. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, you can pick up the phone, call us country code 44 2070 83 72 72. If you are on Twitter, you can use the hashtag WHYS, and the conversation's already underway at facebook.com/World Have Your Say. Well, we're joined on the line by Yasmin, who is there in Cairo. Also, Alice Ukoko from the advocacy group Women in Africa joins us here in London, and Lena is on Skype from Tel Aviv. Welcome all of you to World Have Your Say. Let's begin first of all with Yasmin in Cairo. What do you make of these 3 women being named as Nobel Peace Prize winners?
I think it's a great day for peaceful movements and for peaceful activists that you have 3 women that have been recognized for their contributions to the peaceful movement. So it's a great day for peaceful activism and for women together.
Do you think that it's enough of a nod to the Arab Spring? People talking about Egypt, about Tunisia, about Libya, about fundamental shifts in governments there, and yet a woman from Yemen has been honoured.
Well, when you're looking at the Arab Spring, I mean, well, the first thing that you have to notice is that in the Arab Spring, you have the Arab people have been wanting to join together since forever, or for a while. And so when you see the Arab Spring coming together, you're talking about the Arabs together. So one person's victory is everyone's victory, as we've seen with how the movements have gone from one country to another. And considering particularly with Yemen's case, with the president coming back recently and the extreme violence that has been seen, to have a woman who has been steadfast in her peaceful protest since the very beginning and continues, and to see this effort recognized, it's a great day for peaceful movement. I mean, they've stuck with their peaceful movement despite the amount of violence they faced, and also the fact that the population itself is heavily armed. So when you're talking about an Arab Spring, this is an Arab Spring. It's not the Egyptian or the Tunisian or the Libyan or the Yemeni. It's the Arab Spring. So one person's victory is everyone's victory.
Well, as you talk to us, Yasmin, we're seeing pictures from Yemen and Tawakkol Karman, who led many of the uprisings in Yemen and many of the protests. If you log onto YouTube, you'll see many videos of her involved there. Yasmin, let me introduce you to Lena, who joins us on the line from Tel Aviv, actually is from Stockholm and works for a peace and conflict resolution group there. Lena, what do you make of these 3 awards today?
No, I completely agree with Jasmine. It's embodies, you know, the fight for peace and democracy for women's rights activists all over the world. But let us not forget that it's also an award in their own right. They have made tremendous achievements, all of them, and I think it's fantastic that the Liberian women's peace movement is rewarded in this way, because they have, I think, their story, what they have achieved. They basically, pushed the warring parties in Liberia, the horrendous Liberian civil war, to the peace negotiating table, and they actually, physically locked them in when they couldn't agree and said, you can't come out until you sign this agreement. So, but as I said, it's a prize, an award in their own right.
Alice?
It's interesting. It's a wonderful day. It's a historical day for Africa. because the three women are African women. But one of the things that shows to us is that the time is now for women, because you look at Liberia in particular. I think Liberia was a huge test case in time, where the women themselves, it was the women that actually did what they brought peace. They succeeded where the UN failed. They succeeded where the African leaders failed. So therefore, I would have very much liked to see this opportunity highlighting more of what the women did to achieve peace. Because I believe that the president of Liberia was actually the creation of this Liberian peace women. And therefore, it is important that the women the president should hold. I will recommend very strongly, I would suggest very strongly that the role that women are playing in the peace process in the world, which has not up till now been recognized, should...
So you think that women certainly do bring something different to the table. I'd like to get you all to respond to this tweet that we've had from Ekram in Cairo. So the Nobel Peace Prize was given for women's rights, but it's clear that peace won't flourish, seeing as women, one half of the society, still suffer from discrimination. Who wants to pick up on that?
If I may, you know, there is no doubt that there is still a lot left to do, but I think that this sends a very clear signal that of the importance of what women can bring to the table. Let's not less than 10% of the peace agreements and have had women involved or as signatories. So there is still a lot left to do, and I think that, but this recognition, you know, also sends some important signals. I am in Tel Aviv now, but I just come back from Gaza and from the West Bank. And of course, you know, it's important, for instance, for the Middle East Quartet now also, if there is a new impetus and if there is a new incentive for the Middle East peace process to move forward. We haven't seen that yet, but of course it's very important that they listen to women's voices as well. And so I cannot, you know, underline this enough, that they need to invite women, you know, to the peace table.
Wherever you're watching us around the world, you're watching World Have Your Say. We're discussing the Nobel Peace Prize being awarded to 3 women. Do women provide something different in peacemaking opportunities? You can pick up the phone, you can call us, country code 44 20 70 83 72 72. Yasmin, you're in Cairo. I'd be interested, we saw so many women taking to the streets and playing a really instrumental role in the uprising there, yet there seems to be a real lack of women in the corridors of power.
That is true. I mean, when you look on the grounds, you see a lot of women that are actually taking action, and have been pushing forward for the Arab Spring and for change and for the regime and for everything. And when you look at the political powers that are there now, you do see that there's a lack of women. And I think it's just an unsurety, even if you do have parties that have been pre-existing for at least a couple of decades, they still have resistance to change, because there is the worry about changing and accepting more women. To them, it may not be the suitable time, which of course is very problematic, because the time is now. There will never be a suitable time, it just has to happen. So yes, there are concerns that you don't see women taking up more in the political official arena. But at the same time, you have a lot of women that are striving elsewhere, and I think the focus needs to go back into the grassroots and see what these women have been done for the different movements since the uprising, and how they have been able to push forward despite all the obstacles that they face. So yes, women are discriminated against in certain things, but we can't always focus on the victimization of women, but actually on the triumphs of women to push forward beyond those stereotypes and those criteria, and find a space where they can actually do what they want to do, which is survive and persevere and find change.
Well, Yasmin, Lena and Alice, I want to introduce you to Fatima, who joins us on the line now from the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. Welcome to the programme. What do you make of a Yemeni woman being recognised?
Hi, everybody. It's a new era for the Yemeni women. This prize will make us believe more in our principles, this country is repressing women, but still it's the first Arab country that represents to the world a woman who won Nobel Prize. The victory of Ukoko Kerman today is a victory for the revolution, the peaceful of the revolution. This woman went out to the street with 200 youth, and we were laughing. We were talking about Ukoko Kerman. Come on, there will be no revolution in Yemen. But now we are seeing millions in all provinces, and this revolution is represented itself to the world in 8 months. So we didn't finish a year. Still, we got Nobel Prize, but the regime is ruling Yemen for 33 years. But it didn't brought Yemen anything but wars and all the bad things. And corrupt.
So, Fatima, you think it's a possible new beginning for Yemen? It's moving things forward. I appreciate you coming onto World Have Your Say live there on the line from Sana'a. Well, let's quickly speak to Danya, who joins us on the line from Skype in Dubai. Danya, welcome to World Have Your Say. What do you make of these 3 women being named as Nobel Peace Prize winners?
I think it's extremely amazing. I mean, all of these 3 women are coming from developing countries, which is even more of an honor because you can see that there are actually women that do want to do something and that would like to make a positive difference. And Tawakkul has been working on, different kinds of peace activities for more than 5 years, and it's just an honor to have another woman, to have all 3 women win the Nobel Peace Prize. And to represent us all.
Well, Danya, do stay with us. You're watching World Have Your Say. We're getting calls coming in from Gambia, India, Somalia, Cambodia. If you want to join the conversation, you can pick up the phone. Call us country code 442070 83 72 72. We'll call you straight back, so the cost of the call will be absolutely minimal. We'll carry on talking in the next few minutes. Welcome back to World Have Your Say. I'm Chloe Tilley. We're discussing the Nobel Peace Prize being awarded to 3 women, 2 from Liberia, 1 from Yemen. So what does this tell us about women and peace within the world? We're joined by Alice Ukoko, who is from the advocacy group Women of Africa. Lena is also with us in Tel Aviv, and we're also joined by Danya, who is in Dubai. But first of all, let's get an email up here from Francis. Francis emailed to say it implies a strong endorsement from the Nobel Committee for the way the Arab Spring should go, promoting secular societies across the region with equal rights for women. Alice Ukoko, do you think that's really their role? Should they be advocating this kind of role?
Yes, because women are, by tradition and nature, peacemakers. But we also know that the UN also has the Resolution 1325 that prescribing that women should be allowed to play an effective role, active role in the peace process. But yes, we know that the world, these women may get the Nobel Peace Prize now, but there is so much that needs to happen for women to actually gain their position in the world. Yes, we are happy that the 3 women has gotten it from Africa in particular, so it's a good day for Africa and good day for African women. But we need the world to recognize that more women are engaging and more women need to be recognized for the role that they play.
And Yasmin, you're in Cairo. Do you think it will make a difference to the way women are regarded in Egypt?
I think to actually have a transformation in the general sense of how women are regarded, because that's a very general statement, because women are regarded differently in different social-economical classes, different neighborhoods, different jobs.
I guess what I was trying to say is, will people take notice of this, or will it just be talked about today and then forgotten? Will it have any fundamental influence on society at all, or just forgotten?
Well, considering that, I think it will not be that forgotten. It is a Nobel Peace Prize, and to have it awarded to 3 very successful women at the same time from the region, Africa and the Middle East, it is quite something to be said. I mean, the last Nobel Peace Prize that I recall was won in the region was by Baradei, which was in 2005. And people still remember that. And considering the fact that in Pacific with the Arab Spring and with Tawakkul Carmen and how she has persevered so much, even if it may, at least psychologically, it will carry through because it shows that her actions are being recognized. And it gives force for others, whether men or women, to realize that there is a force and it's peaceful and we can follow through with it and there will be recognition. And as you can see, every day there are more and more people that are more involved and more interested in the issues at hand. And so I don't think it's going to die out. Rather, it will, I mean, everything has its moment where it's talked about intensely and then it sort of filters down. And I think it's going to filter down to something that will still be sustainable. It is a huge accomplishment to have 3 women at the same time. And I don't see it really dying out. I just see it continuing as another reason to push forward.
Lena, do you think this will filter down, as Yasmin says?
May I say? Sorry.
Lena, do you think it will filter down, as Yasmin just said?
Yes, but I don't think that Nobel Peace Prizes in general, makes such a big difference on the ground, really. I mean, there are other forces, at hand that will make a change. I mean, if you look at Liberia now, they are moving into elections soon, and where, possibly Ellen Johnson Sirleaf will have. It would be good for her, but having in mind then that a lot of Liberians cannot read or write, and that the poverty is enormous in Liberia, it might not have that big of an impact on the elections. But I was recently in Liberia, and the Liberian women's movement are now getting together to actually make sure that the elections will be non-violent, and I'm sure that this Nobel Peace Prize to 2 Liberian women will energize this movement. So in that respect, the prize is of importance.
You're picking up the phone to us in Norway and Liberia. If you want to tweet us, you can use the hashtag WHYS, and you can send us your comment at facebook.com/World Have Your Say. Well, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel has been talking about this. She's welcomed the decision, calling it wise. In a statement, she said, "Women are the big hope for a peaceful world and better conditions, not only in this region, but everywhere." That is what her spokesman has said. And I wonder of you ladies, if you think that women have something different to offer from men. Is it just a cliche to say that women are less inclined to be warmongers, for example? Are they better at pursuing peace, or are we doing women a disservice to make such a generalisation?
Well, I think I don't know. I think that it's a stereotype to say that women are more peaceful than men. But women have, as they have their roles currently, their social roles in society, they are more peaceful than men at the moment, but we don't know about the future. But, women are human beings, and so are men, and we have faults, and women are also soldiers, and take part in hate speech and so on. So, but today, the experience on the ground is that women are more peaceful than men, but it's not a biological fact for sure.
I'd like to add to that with regards to what I've seen with the Arab Spring, when it comes to mobilization and protests, when that moment normally, at least what I witnessed and experienced during the pre-resignation of Mubarak, is that our gender was not a gender issue when we went out to protest. It was a citizen issue. And yes, maybe I think in this sense we are actually giving tribute to women who are actually putting a lot of effort into the peaceful movement. I'm not saying that they could be more peaceful, they may not, we should do research on that. But what I want to say is that being a woman and being peaceful are not separate nor entwined. It's the fact that the movement calls for peacefulness, it calls for a change. And if you have women that are at the forefront of this, so be it. In the end, we want change, we want peace as a whole world in the end. And you look at the movements that have occurred. And I want to actually trace back to something that was mentioned about whether or not it has an effect. And I think in the end, yes, it's internationally recognized, and what we've seen before is that when you have international support, it may not, it's just the realization that there's someone else there who recognizes your effort, especially when your efforts are not recognized from within your own region or your own country.
Alice, briefly if you would, because we are coming to the end of this edition, but your thoughts?
Yes, women are the hope for peace in the world, and African women even more so, because Africa has become the continent where there is so much negative imaging of women. It is true that peace is, there is a lot of stereotyping of saying that the women are the victim of war, they are the vulnerable ones. But yet, the truth is, the hope for peace, world peace, rests with women. That's why Women of Africa is working to raise the profile of African women. Because once the women, the profile is raised, then of course violence will also come down. If we say that violence against women is on the rise, then it is also true that women will bring the peace.
Alice, I'm going to have to jump in there because Mahfouz, who is part of the World Have Your Say team, is over at the news desk at Bush House and is going to bring us lots of the comment which has been coming into us.